Yo, pair of orphans and retrogrades. Yo, pair of orphans and retrogrades. I hope you're having a great Monday night. Tonight's show is on a pragmatic judgment call that all men who decide that they want to get married and raise a family will face. That is to say, if you want to use the P word, all patriarchs or eventual patriarchs will face. It's, what kind of wedding do you want to have? As a coach of young men, I often encourage men to get away from wedding industry in major trappings of the kinds of weddings that were being popularized in the 90s and early 2000s. And that's not exactly, we're not doing a David's bridal versus no David's bridal thing tonight. We want to talk about some of the specific psycho-sociological issues, like the trend for male tears at the wedding, at the altar, and specifically the mimetic desire that seemed to be deliberately generated by socials, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, encouraging it, incentivizing it. It seems, to put it bluntly, that men are trying to make themselves cry because, well, everything's female coded and their females, I guess their fiancés turned wives, want them to. We're going to be talking about other things involving the general matrix or female coding of society related to this, but this is the big topic tonight. Joining me is my friend Joe Anders. What's up, Joseph? I just saw you in Chicago. We were hanging out there with our families, and now we're each back in our home cities. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How was that Chicago pizza?
Good, as we talked about. I feel like we talked about it for like 48 hours straight. So it was really good. It's as is well reputed. Chicago has great food, but I think we launched. East. What's that? Gino's East. Was it Gino's East?
It was Gino's East. Unforgettable.
Well, we came home on the same day. You went back to wherever you're from, the Motor City, and I came back here to Mississippi, and we had a long trek. We had a long trek that day because it took like 3 hours to get out of Chicago. So by the time we were leaving the city, we left a little bit late because I was doing the card convention, and I did roll by that day to make a drop off. By the time we got out of the city limits, it was like 3:34, and then we had 12 and a half hours. So that was a wild day. We got back at like, what did we get back at? 4:30 in the morning. It was crazy. You got back a lot earlier than we did.
Yeah, I still can't believe you guys drove that, to be honest with you, with the whole fam like that. I was like, this is impressive. It was like that would be very difficult for me to do. So, for me, it's like 5 hours. For you, the 12 hours.
12 is a lot fewer hours than you would think it would be from South Mississippi to Chicago, Illinois, but it's about 12 and a half. So
yeah. A lot of people keep thinking like Florida or something, not realizing how far east it is.
Right.
So
exactly. Yeah, it was a good time seeing you and everything. And of course, some of these topics that come up, I think my friend Andrew was asking, how are you getting 3 shows a week? I'm like, 1 or 2 are definitely current event or current event derivative or related. They're either upstream or downstream of current events. And then 1 or 2, depending on the week, are interesting talks related to the kind of 4 pillars of the channel. And this is definitely one that kept coming up. And you were, I think, on the road. I was stopping at gas stations on the way up to Chicago. I kept seeing you arguing with people, kind of getting disappointed the way you do as an adult. Adulthood's about disappointment in the people you formerly thought were friends. People, that's like the Webster's definition of adulthood. And I think you were getting disappointed in some people who were crying at their wedding, and it's a real topic. It's something I've been dealing with since my wedding. I had a friend who got married the same summer I did in 2005, and he was like the last guy that I ever thought would cry at his wedding. And I was like, I did not. He did. He got married at the beginning of the summer. I got married at the end of the summer. He cried, and I thought it was really pathetic, because it is. And I was like, I'm not going to. And I was like, dude, what WTF was that, man? And he was like, oh, let's see if you do. I was like, I wasn't even tempted to. I kind of, because big weddings like the one I got, sort of had my arm wrenched into throwing by relatives, or tend to be gay. I was just looking forward. I felt like crying about what I had to go do, circulate. You don't get to see your bride at the reception. I tell young men, don't do this. Just do a wedding in a church and then beat it for your honeymoon. I was super excited, though, for the moment that we left the reception and we took off down the California coastline in a just married car. And that was getting me through it. But in the faux, pseudo sentimentalist, Hallmark, cheap, sort of pimpy American post everything has cracked, the walls in the society have all got giant cracks in them, and people are trying to regain something in the ether that's meaningful. No, I wasn't even a little bit tempted to like tear up, because Steph would have been disgusted by that. Number one, I would have been disgusted by that. And there's simply nothing on your wedding day that you have to really definitely be sad about, or even, I mean, it's exciting, but you're at the beginning of a journey, not even anything real proud about. Like a lot of guys that I think tear up will say, I've done it. You're just at the beginning. You're at day 0. And, if you're a crier, you should be more tempted to do it on your 25th or your 30th or your 50th. Now, you shouldn't be a crier if you're a man, but there's a few reasons I find it particularly objectionable. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, no. And the way that I've always told this to people is, I've seen many different arguments made. One of them being the picture of Michael Jordan crying as he's holding the NBA championship. And I'm like, and like you were saying before, the marriage is the embarking on the journey. When I hope he didn't cry in his first ever basketball game that he ever played. You know what I'm saying? Now on the flip side, what is the end of your marriage? It's when your wife or your husband dies.
Yeah.
And that is the end of your journey. And that might be something worth a couple tears,
Well, I'm gonna cry for like multiple years. So right. Sorry, Erica Kirk, but you staying in more. When Thomas Jefferson's wife died, he locked himself in his private library. He had kids, and he was inconsolable. Yeah. For like 3 to 4 weeks. I've read different amounts. And he was just beside it. He passed out. I can't imagine.
Completed his vocation. That's a completion of your vocation. That's an extraordinarily, impressive feat. It's an extraordinarily, it's an extraordinary moment where you remember the person that you embarked on this journey with. You remember them fondly. You revisit all of the good things in your life and even some of the bad things. And you really are able to reflect on all of that. But the problem is let's take it all the way back to the beginning, is these men, they're celebrating the beginning of something by crying.
Right.
In a moment where you as a man are supposed to be demonstrating to the person that you're embarking on a journey with that you're going to be a man of sound judgment, good leadership, and
a rock.
And it's like, that is the one thing I remember. When my brother-in-law got married, the first thing, one of the few things that he asked me, because he was well prepared to be married, was, you have any advice for somebody that's about to walk down the aisle? I'm doing it this time. First thing I said to him, don't cry.
Yeah.
Do not cry. Your wife will love that. Your wife will love that. You can smile. You can be happy. It is a happy moment.
Of course.
You can smile. You can smirk, but you can't be tearing up. You can't be a blubbering mess. You got to keep your composure, because you as a man need to demonstrate that the sufferings of life are not going to break you down. When you're being married to somebody, you're her security, you're her life preserver. You're the person, like Christ pulled Peter out of the water when he sank, that's going to pull you back up and keep you from drowning. That's what the husband is supposed to be to their wife. He stands in persona Christi in the home. So when you show lack of control, when you show lack of an ability to carry the burdens of emotion on your shoulders and project security, project safety to your significant other, you're failing as a husband. And the last time you want to be failing as a husband is right out of the gate.
I'll table this, but with we agree about the conclusion for a completely different reason. I would say, yeah, I don't even think it's a lack of control. I think it's the opposite. But did you want to?
So you think that I'm just curious, just to parse it out. Are you saying that like, no, they're crying on purpose, like they're doing it for the performance, like acting?
Yeah, that's why it's a conversation. That's why it's become a conversation and a leitmotif that only gets sung after the invention of social media, which was just getting started around the time I got married 21 years ago. Our anniversary is in 3 days. Steph's and mine, that's our 21st. This convo had just gotten underway. My dad said, "You better not cry," because I heard one of your buddies did. This is really pathetic. He's like, "I don't think you will be tempted to." He's like, "This is a brand new thing. I can't imagine guys even." It's not like your wife, something bad happens, and sometimes men want to cry too when really bad stuff happens, but you're trying to be strong. She breaks down, you don't get to. It's not like that at all. This is opposite. This is an utterly manufactured situation. It's a humiliation ritual in some ways. It's a female-coded manufacture. So,
and I think
it's a design defect, not a way. Go ahead.
I'm just maybe these men are good actors. I can't make myself cry. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do that. Like, I don't have that capacity in me. And maybe that's why it seems like kind of foreign to me that this would be the case. But
corny basic,
I just think they're wimps.
Corny basic women across America have used this as some sort of currency of whether or not their husbands burst into tears like a girl when they walk down the aisle. Mm-hmm. And it becomes sort of a bragging right, like feather in your cap thing among just unintelligent broads. That did your husband cry or did he not cry at your wedding? So I do think there is this fem-coded pressure for young men who are getting married, that they must cry, or else first off, their women will be very disappointed. Mm-hmm. And when a woman's disappointed, hell hath no fury. Mm-hmm. But that they don't love their wives, or they'll get some sort of accusation that they must not love their wives as much as the guys who are blubbering like little girls on the altar. I'll say this: if I would have been weirded out, and I know Tim well enough to know that he would never do this, but that every time I see one of these guys doing this on social media, it's immediate ick factor. It's so gross and so fem-coded, and not at all like what real women are attracted to in men. I genuinely don't get it. And I feel genuinely bad for guys who got like talked into, you must cry on your wedding day like a blubbering fool, or else your bride will get super mad.
Yeah. I just don't. That doesn't register. I mean, like I said, this could be a me problem, right? That doesn't register with me. Like being able to like make yourself feel an emotion on demand is kind of like foreign to me. Like emotions are, they come upon you due to events and stimuli. Things are happening around you in my experience. So I don't know if that's like autism or like what's going on here, but
and notice always the women are fine.
Yeah, I know. They're
stone-faced. And half of them, when I'm watching these videos of men crying like girls at the altar, the brides are like looking down the aisle, like wanting to see it. You can say it on their face. They're like checking out the eyeballs of their groom to make sure that he passes the test, this corny female test of your husband, did he bawl like a baby on the aisle when he walked down the aisle?
And Oh, go ahead, Tim. Go ahead.
No, I want to hear your case for. I mean, we're not debating each other, but I'm going to be making the case this is strongly a mimetic desire thing. But go right ahead.
The way that I see it is with the men. I'm just I just through my own lifetime have seen an utter lack of any sort of masculinity. And the thing that we agree on is whether they're doing this, they're making themselves do these things to partake in the humiliation ritual, or they're just wimps. Either way, they're wimps, because why are you letting your wife control you that way? You're a wimp if you do that. And you're a wimp, and you're a wimp if you can't compose yourself in a situation of, seeing your wife in a pretty dress and makeup or whatever it might be. I don't think it's either here nor there necessarily, but if it is, you're either in either sense, you're allowing yourself to be humiliated by a woman who you're supposed to have headship over. And I think that that's the inversion.
So when you say it's not it's a lack of control, women in society are, particularly in 2026, terrible about controlling themselves, their appetites, but they're stone-faced. So there's something else going on. Someone's responded on Twitter to me that it's wrong to have a depth of feeling.
I know.
Oh, so you're impugning all the women who don't cry at their weddings?
Right.
No. Here's the way I would put it if I were opening up the argument in an essay. Modern men often cry at their weddings, not primarily because of spontaneous emotion, not at all.
Okay.
But because of mimetic desire. So I'm going to give you a point with, I think, point-by-point analysis, like the way Girard would do it, René Girard. In a culture that's entirely saturated with cultural set pieces like film, social media, and more than anything, viral wedding videos on Instagram and other socials, men have learned what a groom is supposed to do, how he's supposed to feel, how he's supposed to act, meaning to express it, especially visually, to display it.
Yeah.
Tears become not merely an expression of joy, which is for a profound, surprising set of circumstances in life. Tears of joy have only hit me a couple times when something incredible happened. I can only remember 2 times, and both times were like Holy Spirit moments, the only 2 I've ever had.
Sure.
But even assuming that you're really happy on your wedding day, which I was, it's not an extemporaneous thing, and you're kind of trying to hassle through the next bit of the slog until you can just be alone with your wife, because that's what I care about. But even I'll set all that aside, table it for a second. I'll just say the culturally expected proof that the moment has achieved its highest authenticity is the man crying, and literally it's something that is debated. Are you going to cry? More like Steph says, basic bitches, sort of stupid women, talk about it on social media, talk about it amongst their friends. Will your husband cry? No one asks, is the wife going to cry? The desire to experience and to publicly express that emotional climax is itself imitated. And, you can make a Girardian argument about this, as I would. So it would include there are models of desire that are Girardian. Desire for authenticity, which is Alfred Norton Whitehead wrote that you judge an era not by its suppositions, but by its presuppositions. So what's missing is kind of the hidden note that is always being sought in a given era. So authenticity is what's missing in the social media age.
Right.
There's the second note that's important to Girard is a desire for authenticity. Thirdly, social reinforcement. I think this is where the muscle comes in. This is the downward force, which meets the upward force of the other things. And then there's a strong historical contrast, which shows that this is not natural for a man. So the models of desire, young men grow up watching all of this shit, all of these emotional wedding scenes in movies, television, YouTube, TikTok.
Yeah.
These become models for what a real wedding should feel like. And real weddings are something that have been plastically manufactured more than almost any other product in the marketplace. What does a real wedding look like? Because, I mean, it's already got all of the trappings of real versus fake discourse, right? You have, it's actually ritualistic. It's actually a sacrament for real Christians.
Sure.
It's actually got speaking parts for people.
Right.
You should wear certain uniform. You know, man is dressed in black, the woman's dressed in white.
Yes.
So models of desire tend to spring up around real fake. You know, I'm surrounded by my graded basketball and football cards here on this desk. Oh no, is this real? Can you authenticate it, or is it not real? So the cry versus not cry, the minute that then we move to the second point, desire for authenticity, the minute that we can acknowledge together, me, you, Steph, whoever else, that we know people are talking about it, we know that the brides, the basic bitch brides, are wanting it, then we can say, ironically, authenticity itself is what's become the mimetically desired thing, and it's the opposite of it. It's completely cellophaned. A groom wants to have the genuine emotional reaction because he's seen others have it on movies and, you know, cellophane, plastic
right,
wrap.
and that moves the natural feeling that to start crying, or the unnatural feeling to start crying, I guess, in this case.
Right.
But you understand. I think, no, I would agree with that. That makes perfect sense to me. I mean, basically what you're saying is that they've been brainwashed into crying. And I think that that's a good way to put it. Yeah, they've been brainwashed, and that causes their emotions to act up in that specific moment and do something. Guys like you or me, who are largely preserved by that, probably had manly fathers, you know, manly brothers, manly whatever, just we're kind of preserved from that type of stupidity. And we're told by men that it was stupid. And because of that, you know, we don't have the mimetic desire. We don't have the, we just don't have the urge. I think that's correct. But again, that's still just weak men.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I would say the counter to the idea, which is a natural push point that you made. Well, but all men aren't great actors. Starting to cry is one of the hardest things. You know, it's like one of the things not even every professional actor can do. Hi, Hattie. And so are all these guys amazing actors? No, it's not that. It's that the condition, the possibility of crying are created by the models of desire that have been popularized, the desire for authenticity that I just talked about. Number 3, the fourth Girardian thing would be the social reinforcement. Guests, photographers, videographers often anticipate the moment he cries, right? I had ChatGPT help me build this just right before the show.
Oh no, not again.
It knows that. Yeah,
Wagner is going to start crying.
Yeah.
Waiting for the Wagner video.
Are people going to cry that sometimes, you know, we are not cellophaned but bolstered by, hey, here, show me this. What page was that on? You know, fill out the rest of this quote for me. I'm struggling over it. ChatGPT's great for that, and so is Grok actually. But it's filled in for me. Guests, photographers, videographers often anticipate the moment he cries. I mean, it's scanning the whole interweb and coming up with, yes, this is a huge theme. You didn't just suspect it, Joe Enders or Tim Gordon or Steph Gordon. Right. The expectation itself shapes behavior. And with these guys that are really, you're phony if you're acting a certain way on camera, making a certain face on camera that you wouldn't make without the video camera or the camera. You're actually phony. So
like,
phony.
Let's just say for a second. Sorry, Tim, I didn't mean to interrupt. Let's just say for a second, because this is essentially what marriage is a lot like. You know, you're a British explorer in the year 1600, and you're about to get on your clipper ship and embark on a journey across the Atlantic Ocean to the New World. What do you feel in that moment? Are you overcome with joy and the desire to start crying, or are you pumped up, a little bit afraid of what's to come, and really joyful about what you might discover along the way? Like, what would be an authentic reaction to getting on a clipper ship and going to a new world? Because that's what marriage is. You're leaving that single life and you're going to the new world, a married life.
Yeah, I think that's really helpful. Yeah, and it's not even like, are you so nervous before you take your vows? Like, no, I mean, are you nervous before you go get Eucharist?
Change always comes with a little bit of fear, like it always does.
Yeah, but you're afraid of what comes after the wedding. Unless you're retarded, you realize the wedding is just sort of a thing you have to get through. Sort of like when you or your kids on their first communion or a confirmation, you're like, this is cool. It's the sacraments are a special day. We kind of have to get everyone's pants pressed. All the daughters have to have their veils for church. Of course, we go to Latin Mass an hour, 40 minutes away, and we do all the sacraments there. So as the paterfamilias, you really are like, I have to tend to this logistical hassle. And that's really the main thing that people are thinking about on their wedding day, particularly the more ornate the wedding they are. If they say they're not thinking about logistics, then they're just lying. And what I'm suggesting is that check the box, got to do that. Make sure the flowers for Mary are there. Check the box, got to make sure all the guests have chicken or fish, all that stuff. They're crying for a man for normie, basic, pathetic pukes. Couples who are pukes, who are NPCs out in the burbs, is just one of those boxes to check.
Right.
That's what I'm suggesting.
Because it's trading currency among females, like I was telling you. And and let me give you you young men out there a snapshot of what that's like. When women get into these corny women's groups, they start trading cards like, does your husband get up in the middle of the night to feed the baby? How many diapers does your husband change? Did you cry at your wedding? Are you the one that wears the baby backpack, or does she? Like, all these things, women have turned are trying to whittle masculinity down, or whittle men down to what would a woman do. And so when you're this push for crying at weddings, it's just another one of the major pushes of making men more like females, which for some reason, really corny women really buy into wanting to make their husbands more like a girl. Like, they want the husband to change the diapers and to cry at the weddings and to get up in the middle of the night and feed the baby. I don't know what, but the funny thing is they're actually not sexually attracted to that. They just feel downward pressure from other women that also got their husbands to do all this femme-coded stuff. And it's honestly just absolutely pathetic, because then you get the guys in the videos who know it's expected of them to start busting out a few tears, or else hell is going to be handed down from from their wives.
Yeah,
well, that's the central premise of feminism. I mean, women coming together and organizing to overwhelm and overpower the man. I mean, that's ultimately how they operate strategically. So it makes perfect sense to me. And I never really thought about I guess I just knew that intuitively, that it would be like a mimetic thing, like a brainwashing of sorts. I knew that was why it was happening. But like, the brainwashing to me, it just goes so deep, to the point at which, like, letting your wife disobey you is also the result of a mimetic desire to not seem as though you control your wife, or any of those other labels that they put on things. It just goes so deep that it just goes to, well, yeah, feminism, men even assenting to feminism itself is a mimetic desire, because it's so counterintuitive to any male with any natural upbringing.
Yeah, and the historical contrast is the proof. Like, public displays of weeping by grooms appear to be significantly, orders of magnitude, more common today than in many earlier Western generations, even reasonably recent ones, suggesting that cultural norms, not simply timeless male psychology, which tells on it, this is not part of timeless male psychology, play the significant role. Cultural norms. We have the lowest all-time testosterone with testing around 2015.
Lowest grip strength.
Lowest grip strength, things like these. So I think we've found it out. I don't think it's too abstract a question. It's just a guy. You can kind of prove it to yourself. Do you know your fiance/bride is waiting to see it? Do you want to let her down, or do you want to not let her down? No, human beings don't like to let each other down. So it kind of follows from the femme-driven matrix. If you have one of these basic, ordinary women, that 80% or 90%, whatever the number is, it's kind of like, well, you don't want to let her down. And it's pathetic, because you're the one that courted her and that asked her to marry you. And it's kind of a big indicia, but rather prominent indicator that if it's phony and this much of her life is circumscribed by phoniness, maybe it's not a good idea. But
I find the whole thing, find men's whole role in weddings absolutely humiliating. Just having to wait down there, everyone's like watching, you're just in the church beforehand. I always think it would be better for men if they could just be in like a closet off scene. You know, they could just shout their vows into a microphone and nobody has to look at them. And the bride can have her stupid moment in her dumb dress and walk there and be the princess. And the guy doesn't have to be a part of it at all. She could just
she could just do it alone. She could do it alone.
By herself. It's so stupid. I feel bad, honestly, for every single. I felt bad for you, honestly, honey, when you had to stand up there for me and all of the stupid wedding traditions of like even having to like dress up and stand down there and wait for me, and everyone stands when the woman walks in. It's all so stupid.
I know, with all the iconography of weddings, which after society cracked and society hasn't been Christian for a century or so, it's all an empty set. It's all an empty shell. So like, I mean, the most, and my dad told me this, I think this is really good. My parents actually have a really strong marriage. This wedding ring is like the most meaningful, unadulterated, unbastardized symbol yet. All the other symbols have been bastardized, like men giving their daughters away. This doesn't work for like 98% of people because one, if she's not a virgin, it's an empty shell. Number two, most of the dads out there in the last couple generations have not been good dads, have not been good lordly protectors. Yeah, I mean, going to college, you're kind of ceding your right to give someone away. She's a young woman the second you send her forth from your home. So that's sort of an empty shell. So this also means the white versus black imagery, virgin white, that kind of breaks down. The best man, if you look into that, the wedding party, that's meaningless now. Most people that get married in a church aren't really serious practicing Christians.
The amount of money that these people, like just regular Americans, they're not the daughters of sultans, are spending on their wedding.
They need that
fake
shit.
And gay.
They need that money.
They'll have weddings that are nicer than some sultans' weddings during some hard times in the Ottoman Empire. You know what I mean? It's insane. And we have right now this affordability crisis. These guys want to go out, and this is why I think that this was done, or at least permitted and popularized by whoever's actually running everything in this world, is because it's a feather in the cap to discouraging somebody from getting married right now.
Yeah,
and that's been a consistent hermeneutic. How do we interpret that now is not the right time to be married, as opposed to why now is the right time to be married? And for those that don't know, according to the church, the right time to be married is the second that both of you realize that you are to be married, that you want to be married to one another. So, and that's what this is your wedding has to be more expensive than a down payment on a house that you can raise your children in. Can you make that make sense to me, please?
Right. With a generation of people that by their own
homes
will never be able to afford a home.
Right.
How does it make sense? Make it make sense to us that you're going 20, 30, 40 grand and your parents, and most people are kind of in debt, even in the higher generations. They're less debt than the younger generations, but make it make sense that everybody's getting together for a sort of constipated, morally bankrupt, deracinated affair where the cultural icons don't mean what they're supposed to. No one's really having that good a time.
No.
Everyone's kind of got this constipated smile on, I have to take
except for the wife, obviously, but yes.
Yeah, they're kind of, because they're big phony.
It's the ego massage. They're loving. They're soaking it in. They're soaking in the pride.
Every single aspect, from picking the ring to leaving for your honeymoon, is an exercise in a woman's vanity. Every single inch of a wedding is just a woman's vanity. I genuinely feel horrible for men. Every time I go to a wedding, I'm just like, this poor guy had to sit there while it happened to him or stand there while it happened to him. That's why I'm just like, I wish I could go back and fix my error of like even asking Tim to have a wedding. I wish we could have just gotten married in a forest with a priest, like in Braveheart.
Yeah, Braveheart. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't want anybody, men having a bunch of people look at them while like their wife throws this big vanity party is so humiliating for like.
And it's bad. It's bad for the souls of both the bride and the groom. The man is being really cucked in a way, and the woman is being told she's bigger and larger and more important than she is. And you know, every woman wants to be a princess. Every little girl wants to be a princess. Well, she's not. Every little girl's not a princess.
Grow up.
Grow up. Come on. Like, and also I just like the point that you were laying on, Joe, that my dad told me, this is the beginning of your race. And you know, I hope MJ didn't cry on his first basketball game. Cry for joy.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, this is the beginning of the race, man. I mean, if a guy's got low testosterone, maybe he has some reason to cry at his 30th, 35th, 40th wedding anniversary. It's still not going to be this soldier's response to that. You know,
yeah, I don't think I will be either. I have never felt. I just don't see that for me either. And again, it goes back to like, were you raised by men? I mean, really, that kind of, you can see where there was a soft man's influence over another man versus a appropriately named hard man raising somebody as well. So
Hard Man's podcast.
Yeah, where are the dads that like punch
shout out to Eric on that one.
after they like
Hard Man.
where are the dads that like just punch their son in the face after they cry at their weddings?
My dad was like, you better not do it. And I'm like, I'm insulted that you thought I would be tempted to. I didn't feel the slightest inclination, or I didn't have to fight off the smallest saltine tear entering my eye. I was just, I mean, look at all these guys. Do we have some?
Yeah, look at this. Look
dude,
at
this is common now, dude. This is a common thing now. And for me, it's just when it happened, like I was overcome with like an adrenaline rush when I was about to partake in the sacrament. But it was never like this, like, oh no. There was no heavy like thing. Like I just was happy.
And it's a lack of the sacraments too. We've noticed that some of the weddings that we went to before we were fully back into the faith, it was like them trying to substitute the sacrament for like weird things like the mixing of the sand ceremonies and like the releasing of the doves.
I don't even know if I want to know what that is.
Yeah, it's so gay. It's all gay.
That's for the honeymoon, right?
Yeah.
That's the of the dove. No, it's the desacralization of popular American culture. It always leaves a vacuum. And so Protestant weddings are always like, you dump some of your favorite beach's sands into a bucket and then I'll do mine. And when the sands mix, they'll make a beautiful whitish brown or whatever. And it's like, man, society sucks. Okay, society cracked like 100 years ago, and we were just living downstream of having a proper country. Like these guys are pathetic. And every aspect of weddings betrays it. And it is very telling, extremely telling, that the wedding industry started to blossom in the very decade, the 1990s, when we had the highest reported human divorce rates. In world history, the highest divorce rates ever were in the middle 90s in human history. And that's also the peak years of these, sultan's daughters' weddings of these plebes, the hoi polloi are having, Sally Mae sufferers that are going to be complaining the week after they get back from their honeymoon that they can't make their student loan payment. It's like your dad didn't even pay for your college. Why are you having a wedding as if your family is a family of means, like one of the great American northeasterly families? It's just pathetic. It's pathetic in so many ways. And it's a surrogate for true Christianity. I want to talk about the way that engagement rings playing into this, and because this is something we talked about on CMask, and I wanted to get your take on it in a second, Joe. But first, a couple things. Number one, can you guys all please subscribe to the video, click the notification bell, and if you want to support the channel more than just that, go to Rules for Retrograde's locals and become a $12 a month or more supporter. And still, if you want to help yourself, you're still listening to this commercial, then go to www.realestateforlife.org. And if you're looking to move, then, or to get out of your blue state and get to a red state, then some good Catholic pro-life person will help you do so. www.realestateforlife.org. Okay, so I want to talk about engagement rings, but first I want to talk a little bit about something that is related to female coding that was happening on Twitter, kind of alongside, slightly after, but mostly alongside this argument, you know, and Twitter outbreaks of arguments, particularly among Catholics, tend to be meaningful. I mean, we included a segment in our film, What a Woman Is, which you can go watch on CandaceOwens.com, because of 4 or 5 year old social media argument we called it Diapergate. Remember that, Joe?
Yeah.
Should men, it's female coding, should men change their infants' diapers? How active should they be in infant care? And it became a big thing. So Diapergate, we included in the movie. You started a little tempest in a teapot by telling some mouthy lady who was cussing at you on Twitter to STFU, and then it exploded from there, was it? This is kind of related to the whole topic today, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I didn't tell her to STFU because, like, dude, not my wife, but fix your wife, bro. I told her husband, like, the only appropriate response to, like, women going out in public and talking to men the way that she's going, she was cussing at me. I would never in a million years marry a man that thought he could tell me what to do. All just that sort of stuff. I was like, the only appropriate response from a husband to this is STFU. It's like, shut your mouth now.
Yeah.
And this is appropriate because if she's talking that way to me, and she also believes that her husband can't tell her what to do, she's also talking to her husband that way.
Sure.
And I am of the obvious and firm position that men have a headship role in their family. And if you have a headship role in your family, you need to lay down the law when the person under you gets unruly and disobedient. That could be a wife, that could be a child. And the response that we were seeing from Catholic men honestly disturbed me. Several
responses.
The simple, what was that, Tim?
I said, what was the response? Just no.
The response appeared to be that a Catholic man should not say STFU to his wife under any circumstances. And it just goes back to the other question. I think it's just a reframing of this argument that it's never under any circumstances ever appropriate for you to ever put your hands on a woman. I was like, well, what if she's got a knife to your throat?
Right. But yeah, they were really, on that one, you hear this from a lot of black chicks. Like it's not just like they lay out the general specifics and don't ever like punch women.
Right.
You know, because that could go either way. You're like, is this prescinding from, to use the Thomistic language, prescinding from specific circumstances which would warrant it, or not prescinding from those? So if you say it that way, you just be like, they probably mean in ordinary situations. But the black chicks you always hear, don't never put your hands on my, all that shit, right? is all they'll be like, in any situation, never. I don't care what she do, and they'll say shit like that. Like,
I don't laugh in between your syllables when you say it. Almost that's you know what I mean?
Right.
That's why they act like that, by the way, is because, and this is some of my favorite content on the internet, when a woman is trying to like hit a man and she gets like a shiner right back, solid gold.
Steph loves
it. I love it. I just love it.
I don't like that. I never like seeing that sort of stuff, but I do kind of just put my hand on my head and I'm like, dude, what are you doing, you idiot? Like, what did you think was going to happen?
To me, it's like a beautiful, like an expose on like the differences between men and women and how much stronger and faster and more athletic men are, because women don't know this. And sometimes you need that visual reminder. And those videos with like the black chicks that are always trying to fight guys and then they just get laid out. I'm just like, what a beautiful piece of artwork to remind us all how much better men are than women in so many ways.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with Steph on that. You can take it either way, but as long, I don't want to see anyone get killed because they're a mouthy bitch, but like that's a lesson she's not going to forget. You're not going to have to
Sure.
make me tell you twice, sweetheart. But of course, that's not what you were talking about.
But that explains the dynamic. That ultimately explains the dynamic. And you'll see a lot of these Catholic men, they'll be like personalizing this. Like, I would never say that to my wife. And I was like, well, is your wife cussing at you?
Right.
Have you ever been in that situation? I mean, I'm glad you found a good Catholic woman and she's obedient, she's demure, and she's kind and submissive. But what about the wives that many men, maybe ones that are reverting to the Catholic faith, maybe those that are getting married, that have already been married, that have already been married and have wives like this? How are they supposed to respond to the disobedience? How are they supposed to correct it? How are they supposed to at least move their marriage that already existed before they knew about all this stuff about headship? How are they supposed to move forward in their marriage? I'm glad that you have a good marriage. I'm glad that you don't ever have to talk to your wife this way. I would never want anybody to have to talk to their wife that way. But if you do, you do, and you should, is my argument. Because what do we do? What do we do when a woman gets comfortable and demonstrates to other women, because this is public, that it's okay to talk to men that way? Well, there's going to be a lot more videos of women like those black women you were just talking about getting their teeth knocked out. And ultimately, the better lesson, which is the one that their father should have taught, the one that their father should have taught them, is that you don't mouth off to men when you're a woman.
Yeah. I agree with all that. The one thing I don't agree with is I don't think this is some special husbandly role to say STFU for women. I've told it a lot more online over the last 8 years to other guys' mouthy wives than, to my wife, who doesn't need it. So I don't think this is it's a unique duty that a woman has to her husband. If he says be quiet, she has to. I mean, literally in the middle of a sentence, you have to be quiet. I don't want to hear anything right now. But I mean, it's really good for men to talk that way to mouthy women. I've never been in a situation where I had to hit a girl back. But yeah, equal rights, equal fights. I'm there. I want to say that. And that goes for women mouthing off. And there's a lot of Catholic women that do this. Mouthing off to men online. Don't start pining for the days of long gone of chivalry when you're mouthing off to me. I mean, probably don't even have a Twitter account. But so yeah, I would say it's most other guys' wives that I see it needing to. No,
I agree with you on this. By the way, I'm just telling you that's not what I did. I didn't do that in the tweet. I was just saying that your husband should go do. The husband's the one who could really nip it in the bud. I can't nip it in the bud. She can just continue to mouth off to me online and mouth off to other men all she wants. Even if I tell her to STFU, it's good that she heard it. It would be good if she heard it from me, I suppose. But I'd much rather her husband be the one that corrects her than I. But no, men, by all means, you need to be telling more women to shut up.
Women, here's the thing.
It's good for men to tell them that.
Yeah. The women out here need to hear this. I just don't want to interact with you. I mean, there's some pleasant like widows or that give encouragement or something online, but I just don't want to be interacting with some other guy's wife, particularly women my age. Maybe this is where you could have made inroads convincing. I think I saw an interchange between you and Anthony Abate. I just don't want to be interacting with other men's wives, particularly the ones that are close to my age. I've got my wife. Women have been called a mystery. I don't think they're a mystery. I just think most men don't know how to deal with being a leader to their own wife, and therefore women are out of control. I'm really comfortable in a loving relationship with my favorite woman, and I just don't want to have to be babysitting everybody else's wives and children. And
it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, but I don't have to do it with children. People know, don't try to get Tim Gordon to babysit your kids. But I'm babysitting a lot of your guys' wives, is the truth, on Twitter. I don't believe in that.
Public school is like the babysitters for like people. Like public school is the babysitters for America's children. Twitter is the babysitter for America's wives.
It is.
Like all these husbands are like, spend time on Twitter. I do not want to spend time with you.
That's a tweet. That is a tweet right there, man. Twitter is, oh my gosh, it is. It's a daycare for a daycare. Anyways, and by the way, like, I like Anthony, and me and Anthony are cool. Me and Metatomist are cool too. But both of them kind of recoiled a little bit at me saying to use this colorful language. And it's just like, you know, when women have a gutter mouth and they come at you with a gutter mouth, and, you know, you have to be able to do more than just smack your hand on the table to restore order in a household. So as a husband, like, if you have a woman that acts like that, if you have a woman that talks that way to you, you better make sure that you restore order. You bang your gavel, Mr. Judge, Mr. Monarch of your household, pastor of your household, in persona Christi of your household. Bang the gavel. Let them know that you won't be talked to that way. And guess what? And this is, I think, what made people the angriest, is that I said she'd think it's hot.
Yeah.
No, as you've said many times on the podcast, Tim, no is an aphrodisiac.
Yeah.
Women love that. Women love, because they don't know what they want. They love when a man tells them what to do. They don't want to do it, and it turns out that is what they wanted. That is like that is an aphrodisiac for women. Anybody who's like in a normal marriage knows this. Everybody's kind of done it. It almost becomes a game. It's almost playful. And when I
let's keep it G-rated here. It's getting a little bedroomy for me. It's a little bit. It's almost like it tickles.
All right, let me take my shirt off real quick.
All right.
I say this all the time, by the way, that women love being told no. Yeah. I say this all the time.
The woman going online and yelling at men is basically telling you that, like, I want some man to tear my head off because my husband doesn't do it when I do wrong.
It's a cry for help. It is. Cry to be said no to. It's like the bully, the Saturday morning special. He just wants a loving teacher, or maybe another kid's dad, to tell him when to stop, when to say when. And yeah, all right. Well, so I didn't see the full.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I just want to clarify, I guess, what is meant by this whole thing. I mean, we had, after the Joshua Charles tweet about, you got to test, you can test your wife's fitness to be a wife by telling her to dress more modestly if she isn't dressing modestly, and if she's hostile to it. And I'm not kidding. Hundreds of Catholic women were like freaking out about it and yelling about mutual submission, yelling about, a real man doesn't need to ask to be led. And I was like, what are you talking about? The curse of Eve, in its essence, is a concupiscence to disobey your husband. Like, right. What are we talking about here?
I didn't see that. I was on the road, and I mean, it's kind of funny because Joshua Charles is such like a proper, gentleman or whatever. So I mean, this is all very downstream of the case for patriarchy. I mean, this is all kind of, it's easy now. That trail has been blazed, by yours truly here. So people now kind of expect it, that serious-minded Catholics are going to be somewhere along that line of thought. But I was surprised when I saw later, or I heard references later to the fact that the women were coming at Joshua Charles. They took a look at Josh and probably thought he'd be more civil.
Roll over a little more, Catholic answers on the feminism question, maybe. Yeah,
I think that's it. So,
no, and by the way, it was a good take. I thought it was a good take. There was a lot of guys saying that, you shouldn't even try to date anybody that isn't evenly yoked with you. And again, it goes back to that question, is like, there's people that are already married before The Case for Patriarchy was a book that came out, before, what do you think? Every Catholic out there is reading Arcanum Divine and Casti Connubii. Like, no, they didn't even know about this stuff literally 10 years ago.
But didn't he say in the tweet, it's like a stranger girl that's immodestly dressed?
I don't know what you're talking about. His tweet was about like your girlfriend.
Oh, I thought he said.
It might be another one, but his was about like when you're on a date with somebody, or when you're dating somebody, to like, you can kind of see gauge where they're at by asking them to dress more modestly if they're dressed immodestly, and that'll tell you if they're an obedient and submissive person.
I can put that on the screen.
Can you? Yeah. Can you read it, since we're? Yeah. I mean, we're talking about all the same stuff.
This is what he says.
Male tears Yeah.
One of the easiest ways for a man to see if a woman is worth pursuing, ask her to dress modestly in public, since most men don't these days. If she says no, she rejects the authority of Christ and would thus reject your authority as a husband and move on.
I think that's great. I think that's a great take.
Well, wait, but that's what I mean. So he said pursuing. This is you're I guess he didn't really frame it perfectly. I guess it could go either way, but pursuing means approaching for her number, the way I read that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I figured pursuing meaning you were dating.
That's what I thought.
Read it one more time. One of the easiest ways
for a man to see if a woman is worth pursuing, ask her to dress modestly in public, since most men don't these days. If she says no, she rejects the authority of Christ and would thus reject your authority as a husband. He's right. I mean,
you should certainly be able to tell your girlfriend, hey, don't wear that. You look slutty. That's just kind of obvious. But I just thought it sounded slightly faggy, like you're going to go up to a girl that you think is cute and tell her to wear something. I also just got a little burnt out on the modesty stuff, the kind of dorky Flanders Christian stuff. Like, yeah, it's bad to dress slutty. I agree.
Did you see the Pius the 11th? Did you see the Pius the 11th dress code? That they posted like a graph of like what one of the popes said you should dress like in like 1910. It's just, sorry, Tim, no Nikes.
Yeah, that's why I get burnt out on Catholic Twitter when it's like they go full dork and they're literally like, well,
I'm against that too. I don't know if that's what he was doing. I was just saying that's actually a decent test if like, you're into this girl and hanging out with her all the time, and maybe you want to start pushing more towards the marriage direction. I think that's a great way to see if she's obedient or not.
Yeah, just telling women no.
Thing. Yeah.
Guys out there, if you're dating a girl, tell her no. Just start getting in the practice of telling her no. See how she acts. If she acts like a brat, move on. Because you're going to have to tell her no a lot in marriage. And hopefully you'll tell her no a lot with marriages, like the wedding. No, we can't have these corny flowers. No, we can't invite everybody. No, you're not going to spend $40,000. No, you're not going to tell me what ring you want and send me pictures on text of what it should look like, or else she'll be disappointed. Like that, like that.
Yeah, that's one of the big ones.
The first no is not the most important one. It's the no's that follow that are going to matter more in this scenario, because there's in the Catholic circles, there's a lot of them now that will have the case for patriarchy, and they'll try to play the game, but kind of get sick of it after a while. But you got to be a little bit persistent with this, and and at least at one point while you're dating before you marry, I think it should be something difficult that you say no to, and see how she responds. That will be your real tell. Dressing modestly, that's like the bare, honestly, I would take it further than John. That's like the bare minimum. Hey, can you not sin? Like that's ridiculous to me. With the whole modesty thing, the next question, it would be like, I really want to, go on this trip to Rome with my girlfriends. No, I don't want you to do that. That's a hard thing. That's a harder thing. When you get to the bigger things, that's a bigger test to me than just asking about the modesty.
I want to remind everybody, if you disagree with anything that Tim or Joe has said, or me, please call in. There's a link in chat that's pinned if you're watching YouTube, and it's on the screen right now. So feel free to start lining up backstage right now. We'll take people in order as they come. We have a few people in there right now. So go ahead and join the show by using that link.
So let's do engagement rings. This is another thing that just men get cucked on, right? So in our culture, you get a wedding band. A man gets one, a woman gets one. In our culture, it's also customary for a woman to get a totally extra gift. Shocker, right? Women get extra. They get the engagement band. And that's usually, it's become customary for it more often than not to have a solitary diamond, solitaire or whatever. I have been a part of shows. It was on CMask where I so strongly disagreed with advice being given to young men. And, it was fine because we were hashing it out publicly, and there's, I guess, reasonable minds can differ, but I don't think it's really reasonable that men are going into hawk, for whatever it is, shocker, the diamond industry tells you that this should be like a third of your salary. And people are like, that's the rule of thumb. McDonald's tells me I should eat 5 hamburgers a day. That's the rule of thumb, Tim. I got to go to McDonald's and you know, watch my ass get larger because I have to eat 5 burgers a day. McDonald's told me so. A third of a salary for an extra gift it's a gift that a woman gets that you don't get. There's no foil or matching husband gift there.
Another down payment on a house, by the way.
Another down payment on a house.
You're at 2 down payments now, guys.
Right. If you follow the standard wisdom and right. Have a ginormous wedding, you know, 20, 25, 35, 40, 50, it goes up. $1,000.
If you got a gold band off of Craigslist for $50 and your wife somehow wanted to marry you less after you did so, probably not the right woman.
Sorry, what'd you say? I didn't hear what you said.
I was saying that if you bought your wife an engagement ring, just a simple gold band off of Craigslist for $50, and she somehow had a problem with you after the fact because you didn't drop $10K on her wedding ring, she's probably not the right woman to marry.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
She is a brat.
She's a brat. Yeah, that's well, I don't. I mean, yeah.
My wife was very happy with the ring that I got her, and I got her when she didn't have a lot of money. When I didn't have a lot of money.
Of course, everyone
adores it because of what it means.
Right.
What is it? It's our. They used to call it a covenant, or what do they call it? A covenant now. They used to call it a contract. It's the symbol of our contract, of our covenant.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful.
That's what's beautiful about the engagement ring.
Yeah, and you can't get an actual gold band for $50, but the cheapest you can get them, kind of like, oh, what do you want, a better deal on flowers, or do you want a worse deal on the wedding flowers? Do you want a better deal on the church or a worse deal on the church? Young men, if you're getting married young, the way nature's God intended us to, you don't have to stipulate, oh, I didn't have much money when I got married. No one does, aside from, again, 1% of 1%.
Right.
No one does if you're doing things the right way. So young men, and this is where the rule of thumb becomes extra absurd. Young men who are all semi-impoverished, 99% of them, are being told that the salary they're barely getting by on should be thirded out, and 1/3 of it should go to a wedding ring. And men are still taking this seriously. And a lot of them are the same guys that are saying, you know, I watch some red pill content. I don't want to get cucked, but come on, I got to spend 5 figures on a ring. Unbelievable.
Where's your dowry?
Yeah, where's your dowry?
Where's your dowry, bro?
That was the other part of it where it was more meaningful. I mean,
if you give me a dowry, maybe you'll get a nicer ring.
Yeah. In a logistical sense, dowries were very, very super real. And then you could say, logistically speaking, this makes sense again. Make it make sense. Yeah. An expensive ring, if the dad's going to give you, 100 head of sheep or whatever, it's real value. But that's not there. Everything in the West, in Western civilization, has been feminized and fem-coded and turned into the matrix, where every bit of the visible part of the iceberg of society that's sticking up above the water is there to make basic ladies feel better about themselves. Everything that's there.
And that's what I'll say too. Like, we say fem-coded, but I want to say this: it's not actually femininity that's being fem-coded. It is just these basic corny broads that are setting the rules for everybody. Give me like a Mercedes from Count of Monte Cristo. I'll put her on the screen right now. Wherein she wanted to marry Edmond, he couldn't afford a ring, and so she literally just tore a piece of string off of her dress, and she just says, "This will be my ring."
And wore it the rest of her life.
Yeah. If you like, for me, it's like, I was just so like honored and happy that you asked me to marry you. I would have taken nothing, and it's like, to me, like Mercedes, like that's femininity. That like what's being coded now in men's brains by women, it isn't actual femininity. We talk about the Braveheart wedding. Women's natural femininity, it is beautiful, but what we're seeing now is just gauche, tacky, like basic broads who want to be their princess for the day, and they want to wear a house on their finger because everybody to dazzle all of their friends and all of this corny bullshit.
Yeah, because they're not rich, and your young man usually isn't either. So don't have the wedding of the daughter of the Sultan of Brunei, and don't have the wedding ring of the daughter of the Sultan of Brunei. If you have extra money, this is one thing Tucker said that I liked a lot. He's like, I've wasted a lot of money in my life because he has a lot. One thing I don't mind it. I don't need to get that money back. I wish I wouldn't have wasted time. Those are wise words. You know, if you get more money when you're older, and you can afford to waste money. You can afford not to shop in comparison shop and coupon cut and all that. And you can afford little luxuries for yourself. You can't do that when you're getting married when you're 20 or 25. No one besides the very, very wealthy have enough to have a fakely extravagant wedding or a fakely extravagant ring. It's something all straight young men do, is get married. If you're straight and young and you don't have a rare special calling to the priesthood, you want to get married so you can start your family, start the hibbity dibbity with your wife, you know,
tickery-boo.
The tickery-boo, let the tickery-boo commence. And, you know, it is checking off a box. And in time, your wife's going to love whatever ring you get her because it's a gift, and she'll probably love it right then. But yeah, you don't need to, you know, what did that one tacky female in my family, I don't really know who it is, some extended relative said, oh, that's the cute starter ring.
You got me I love my ring. Wow. I absolutely love my ring. She called it a starter ring, and she's like, oh, you can change it out. But it's like, because for a bigger one is what she said. But one of the things I love.
So disrespectful.
It's so disrespectful. But when I look at my ring, I love my ring. But for me, I also look back on time. Like, we didn't have much money. I love that it symbolizes our youth and not having money, and that this is the best that we could do. And I've worn it for 21 years, and that I'll be old and my hand has aged in this ring. And it's like, there's nothing in the world, not 20-pound diamond or whatever corny crap women are walking around with these days, that could ever replace that. My husband picked this out for me, and it's a gift. And this is the other thing: women treat engagement rings like it's owed to them, like it's an appendage on their body, that it needs to look a certain way or be a certain price. This is a gift, ladies. This is a gift. And if you're going to get all gay and specific about what ring that you have on your finger, then you're a brat. You're a total brat, and you need to reassess your priorities, because men don't get two things. And frankly, they have to sit up there in the monkey suit and get humiliated throughout the wedding anyway. So just be thankful that you're being proposed to and that you get to wear a beautiful piece of jewelry, because let's face it, anything that gets slipped on your finger is a beautiful piece of jewelry. And don't be basic and corny and tacky.
Gauche.
And don't let your family bait you into the reception thing. Oh, it's for the family. Okay, then you pay for it.
Yeah.
You pay for it. It's on you. You pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people do. And I still, you know, we had our reception.
That doesn't eliminate the pageantry, but it's like if it's that, the point is if it's that important to you, I shouldn't spend the down payment on my home on this. If this is so important, and I think we were talking about this while we were in Chicago, actually, Tim. I was like, you know who's got this right are the Mexicans.
Yeah.
The Mexicans got it right. So with the bride and groom will show up for a second, while all the Mexicans run out of the church, go to the closest local park, light up the grill, start doing a pig roast, start, getting the chicharrones nice and crispy or whatever the heck they're doing, hitting the piñata. I don't know I don't know. They start going, they just go out to the park and have a good time as the family. And then the husband and wife can run away whenever they want.
Right.
That's cool.
I fully agree. What we tell young men is pay the $1,000 or whatever it costs to reserve the church. Because if people are flying in for your wedding, I just tell people to just go get a church and do it with as few witnesses as possible. But if people fly in for the wedding, you've provided, usually weddings are in the summer, you've provided a cool place where they can get out of the sun, right? And they can witness the sacrament, which there's a public component to all sacraments. And then you are not responsible for the ceremony. Now, usually the bride's family pays for the wedding. And even if the bride's family pays, then you're going to be on the hook for 6 months of letting them plan it. And I'm not a fan of that either after having been through that. I would just say, yeah, if you want, if either of the parents want to allow everyone who flew into the city to, come over and, if they want to have something catered or whatever, or do something at one of their houses, that's great. Whoever lives in that actual city you got married in, that's fine. That's up to them. They can do it sort of so that they got into the church and now they get an extra meal or whatever. But this system just isn't working. And the proof that it's not working is that the wedding industry grew the very decade at the very same time, perfectly corresponding with the rise in divorce.
It's discouraged marriage. It's discouraged marriage. There's no way to say
it does discourage marriage. And I've talked about this a lot, that the other way to discourage marriage is to explicitly discourage marriage. And boomers have been very explicit about, I've heard so many young women say, if I got married in college, but still wanted to finish my undergraduate degree, yeah, I'll finish this degree, which is a waste of money for most women, almost all women. Even if they're willing to finish it, then their dad and mom said, no, if you get married, we're not going to continue paying your tuition. That's insane. College is like a perfect time to get married, right? A kind of a perfect warm-up time when neither of you's really working anyway. I don't get it. But I do know that it comes from a very anti-religious, anti-sacramental boomer generation that watered down to the Gen X and then to the millennials a little bit less.
Sacrament, right? And and again, like the perfect time to get married is when God's calling you to marriage. Like that's what everybody needs to kind of just like absorb into themselves. The second that you and your wife both know that you are to be married, that's the right time to get married.
Yes, that's how the sacraments work. That's how vocations work.
That's the, anyways, go ahead. That's the disorder.
Yeah. The last thing, we'll take a few calls. The last thing I wanted to talk about was just tweet by my buddy Mike Pentile. He said something like, is there a time when, let me find the tweet. Is there a time when consuming more patriarchy content online can be bad, becomes counterproductive or something like that? Let me see. Let me just read it. Yeah, here's what, and I responded. Because at first I was confused, but me and Mike talked about it. I know what he's saying. He said there comes a certain point where consuming patriarchy content can become legitimately harmful. Past the point of understanding it and its importance, a man should completely dedicate himself to a life of prayer so he can actually become the virtuous patriarch instead of the man who risks becoming a total caricature of a paper patriarch. Mm-hmm. And I said, I just said, yeah, Mike, of course, given the golden mean of temperance, this is always true. Yeah. The problem of opportunity cost, right? This is always true. I said, here's the problem, though. I only foresee these pump the brakes cautions against overconsumption in regard to topics like patriarchy. But the same proviso also applies to YouTube content like vids on how to pray, historical Christianity, Scott Hahn type content. On account of opportunity costs, consuming such video at a certain juncture becomes legitimately harmful. If you're watching how to pray videos instead of going to pray, and it's your like dying breath where you do have a actual choice you have to make, then it's bad. But I'm saying there's a selectivity here. There's a universal, there should be a universally applied rule, but it's only selectively applied. I said, since the proviso is universally applied, but only, universally applicable, but only selectively applied, I fear it could become part of a Mott and Bailey against patriarchy. Do you agree? He said, definitely. We were saying the same thing. So other people were weighing in. I was saying there's a theoretical practical divide in the approach. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. If you say that could fetch either a Me Too reply, I'm that hungry too, or it could fetch a caution against the literality. Oh, don't eat horse meat. That's bad. So there's a choice to be made. And so I was sort of confronted with this. To me, it just immediately sort of, my first response was, this seems strange because Mike does patriarchy content. I do patriarchy content. You know, Mike and I became friends doing patriarchy content together. So at first it sort of felt like Burger King telling you not to eat so many burgers. It's like, well, this is kind of what we do, bro. And that's the point. Theoretically, one can consume too much of anything, but practically the brake pumping only gets applied to stuff like patriarchy. So that's what I was just saying. I think we see eye to eye on this, me and Mike, but I'm like, you know, you don't hear people say, don't watch so many prayer or history of the church videos. Right? I don't know. I didn't know if you wanted to weigh in.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, I love Mike Pantile.
Oh, he's the best. He's
literally one of my favorites. But no,
Great.
I mean, it just seems like a post that was made. Well, maybe somebody he knows, maybe him, whoever it might be, was just thinking like, man, I feel like all I do is watch these patriarchy videos. But
right.
Like, I only wish somebody watched as much patriarchy content as Mike Pantile does, or whoever this theoretical person that he's talking about might be watching patriarchy videos, because not enough men are watching patriarchy content. Not enough know how to argue it against the attacks that are going against it or any of these things. So I think that employing that type of selection bias, though probably something more personal to him because he's in the sphere, could come across as a selection bias. Like, nope, this is like an issue that we should prioritize, which he obviously doesn't think.
Yeah, that's good. All right, we'll call in. We have can we switch back to this camera, please, Stephanie?
Sure, yeah. All right, let's take some calls. Feel free to, especially if you disagree too. Let's have those disagreements. But
criers, come at me, bro.
I want you to cry on this show for us.
Yeah,
guys who spent $15,000 on a ring that their wife sent snapshots of. Let's hear from you.
If it's under 15K, do you really love her?
If she doesn't show you exactly what she wants on a website, down to the type of gold, then you don't have yourself a keeper there. Okay, we're gonna add Bob. All right, Bob, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
It's good to be here. I gotta say, this is probably the best topic I've heard from you guys. I had two things I wanted to say, more like a question, but I'm probably just going to choose the one that's more relevant. So I did a call-in show with Lila Rose. And I honestly think Lila Rose is like one of the worst. She should really delete her channel. And her show topic was ask me for dating advice. And I asked her for advice, and she told me to tell me a little bit about myself. And she gave me perhaps the most tone-deaf, worst advice ever. And I asked her a very candid question. I asked her, what are you supposed to do if you, as a young Christian man, want to get married, but it seems like girls in my generation and my age largely don't want relationships? And she didn't have an answer for that. And then also she didn't air it on her show. I think it's because her response was bad and she knew she had nothing to say. And I don't know, just I wanted to say that, leave you with that, some thoughts,
I think that that's perfect, because she's incapable of telling women to really do anything except not get abortions. And even on that, she doesn't even want women to get punished for getting abortions, as far as I'm aware. So unless that's changed, I know that I think who was it, Tim? Was it like Abby Johnson or somebody that all of a sudden changed her tune on the abortion thing? No, we should punish women who get abortions. Yeah.
Abortion, real murder, but the people that get abortions aren't murderers. She used to say that. She flipped on that. I think Lila's still on the politically correct.
Is she? Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. But you're right. She's completely unequipped to answer anything other than, is abortion good or bad? It's bad. But there's many more interesting topics, because we all know it's bad. Even the left knows it's bad nowadays.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. What was her bumbling advice?
Let me guess. Can I guess it, please? Can I guess what it would be?
Yeah, go ahead. Guess it.
Was it something along the lines of, you just need to be your holiest, best male self so that you can attract a woman of equal quality?
I would love to say that's the answer, but it's actually not. Here's what she said. After I asked her my question, she said, describe yourself. So I did. And she was like, okay, have you tried dating apps? And I was like, you're kidding, right? And I was like, yes, I have tried it, and they're a miserable failure. And she says, maybe you should lower your standards. And I didn't want to turn it into a debate because it's her show, but I said, even if I lowered my standards, it doesn't help if no one's liking me. And then she said, join a young adult Christian group or go to church. And I was like, gee, I wish I thought of that earlier. And, you know, and she honestly, it felt like once I asked my question, I was in the principal's office, because she likes to pretend that she's really nice. But when I had a serious topic with her, her demeanor was different. And it just seemed so bad. She was like, lower your standards, find a young adult Christian group, which I'm already a part of, go to church. And I told her, well, you have to understand something. Where I live, my church that I go to the traditional Latin mass. And if I can't make it, I'll go to a Byzantine Catholic church. There are no eligible bachelorettes. And she's just like, well, I don't know what to tell you. And I'm like, okay, thanks. And that was it.
It's a perfect example. I don't know, Tim, you can tell me what you think about this, but this is just a perfect example of her having, and I mean, like, there's not a single thought in her head about actually helping young men at any point at all with anything. She does not care about them in the slightest. When confronted with, you know, one of the easiest questions in the world, she simply just didn't have an answer to it.
Right.
And it's because ultimately what she doesn't want to help men. She wants to tell men what to do. And that's the spirit that I think that you and I have talked a lot about whenever she's come up on the show.
Yeah.
And the only way that Lila Rose can actually help men is by telling women to stop being gigantic pains in the neck. And she's not willing to do that. But women aren't going to be able to help men. Like Lila is not going to be able to help men. The only thing they can do is really just tell the women that watch their shows not to be gigantic pains in the neck. And they don't want to do that.
Which is what the Bible says. Yeah. Older married women should tell younger unmarried women is, you know, here's how you train yourself to eventually be a good wife and for the vocation. And she's not doing that. And I am struck by the fact that everyone who has ever come on this show and said, oh, you know, Lila seems really nice, but, you know,
she's really not. She was kind of rude. And you know what?
It seemed nice to me. That's what I'm just going to say, though. She doesn't. She's never struck me as like one of these people that seems nice, but then you hear a story.
She's always struck me as like the worst suburban mom in the neighborhood.
Yeah, she's kind of a hypocrite too, because she's always like, lower your standards. But didn't you get married in your 30s? You have the gall to tell me lower your standards. And like, you only waited for this like hunk military man who took you to the opera. It's like, who are you to lecture me? But anyway, yeah, the whole conversation we had was women in my generation don't want relationships and men get blamed for it. What do I do? And it was awful. It was dreadful. And she didn't air it. I mean, good for the better, because it was kind of embarrassing, the conversation on my part too, because I was kind of like, I don't know what to say here. It was ridiculous.
Well, yeah. I mean, are you retendering that question to us? Do you want us to take a crack at it, or you just would you just?
No, I thought I'd share because it's relevant to the topic. I kind of was more curious to see what she would say, because I think I know the answer. You know, women don't want relationships, and you know, what is a guy supposed to do when a guy gets blamed for everything? I think I kind of know, but I just no one ever has these hard conversations with her. And to an extent, I think Trent Horn is the same way. Even though I am a casual fan of him, they are not equipped with these answers. And no matter what, it's always back to, well, you know, just find someone at church. But yeah, you know, not working with a lot of great options. And then on top of that, my young adult Christian group, the girls are awful. You know, the one girl, I asked her one time, we were in a backyard barbecue. I said, hey, can you get up and get me a water from the cooler? And someone else was like, wow, you're going to ask a woman to do that? And I was like, yeah, believe it or not. Oh no, God forbid, someone do me a favor. And then she got me the water anyway. It's not even a big deal. That's what we're dealing with.
Right. Well, she got you the water. That's.
Yeah, I would talk to her.
Yeah.
No, she's taken. I was just exhausted. I was crushing it. I was crushing it at Frisbee, and I was like, "Listen, you're the first person in my line of sight. You got to get me water now."
Women love that.
Yeah.
So I actually, like, if a guy was like, "Give me water, stat," I would have been like, "I respect you, sir. Yes, I will."
Yeah.
Do I need to do that more?
You don't have to. You already know you do that plenty. I love it.
Like, I'm one of these guys. You always make me my plate at a barbecue. You always do the thing, but I just never. I'm not a demand kind of guy. You just spring to action.
Yeah.
But I'm like, to spice it up, do I need to? I guess we can deal with that later. But
oh my God.
yeah, man. Well, best of luck out there. I mean, the best thing that you can really do is to put it out there and to be masculine. And that's not what they're going to tell you, but women are absolutely attracted to masculine men. I don't mean a caricature of it or whatever that means, but keep doing you. If the premise in the question is there are no women in my area, how do I meet one? It's like, okay, logistically, that's sort of built into the syllogism to say no, but there are women around. You don't need to only ask out already Catholic women, because they will be interested in following you if you're sufficiently masculine.
That I agree with. Oftentimes I'll hear guys in my friend group say the most important thing is she's Catholic. And that's important. That would be a plus. But me personally, I think if we have similar life values and she's, I don't know, like coachable, that to me is more important. So
yeah,
the key. It's the key is coachability.
Yeah, that's ultimately what it is. You have to have, when you're looking for a woman, the two things that matter the most is that, she has a desire to be virtuous, and among those virtues should chiefly be her obedience and willingness to be led by a man. Like if you find those two things in any woman, she's that necessarily means, as long as you're a good, faithful Catholic, that she'll become Catholic.
Right.
So,
right.
You don't have to worry about that. Those are the primaries.
Right. It's different the other way around. For women, for all my daughters, when they're looking for a man, no, you should not bring them to Catholic church. You need to find a man that's already a serious Catholic. Mm-hmm. Different advice. But women are natural followers, right? Men are natural leaders. So it's like, just if you see a nice Protestant girl that's virtuous, just make her be Catholic. It should take like a week, or when some
Yeah, I'm gonna be the cringe guy here, but also like seriously, like pray that God sends you the wife at the proper time as well. You should be asking that. No, don't be some blubbering idiot like a lot of guys are that get down. Oh, I just need a wife. I'm so lonely. Please, God, send me a wife. No, get down on your knees and be like, look, Lord, I feel called to the vocation of marriage. If I am called to this vocation, please send me the proper woman to fulfill this vocation for me, so I can find it, so I make the right decisions that lead to the marriage. Like that's how you should be praying about this, and I think that'll help you a lot too. At least emotionally, advice. At the very least. Yeah.
This is truly a more productive conversation than I had with Lila, and that's more practicable than anything, truthfully,
It's an easy answer. I think Tim and I have probably told this to hundreds of men already.
Yeah.
100 times. It's just an easy answer. The fact that she didn't know. That's why I said the fact that she doesn't know that this is the answer tells me that she just simply doesn't think about or care about men or their well-being. So
I think it's just a painful lack of self-awareness. I think she's just kind of performative, to be honest, and she doesn't really offer much to the space. And at this point, I kind of hope she just deletes her channel. Not to be mean, but she doesn't really do much.
I hope all women delete their channel.
I hope at all points hope that Lila Rose deletes her channels. That's
all roads lead
another
to
great
Lila.
prayer, by the way, if you wish to say it.
Well, God bless, man. Good luck. We'll say a little prayer for you. We'll shoot up some smoke.
Thank you. You guys are the best. It's always a pleasure watching you guys.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks, Rob. All right, next up we have Will, and we'll read all the super chats too at the end, so get those in. But if you'd like to join the show, there's still time. Go ahead and join that with that link that's up on the screen or pinned in chat. So, we have. I'm sorry. Let me do this. Will, how are you?
Hello. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good to see you. Actually, I don't see you. I just see a big black blob, but I hear you.
Yes. Can you see the glow from the cigarette?
Yeah, I saw you take your first drag.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Nice. You're profiling me, right?
Yeah.
Right. So this is my first time calling in to the show. I must say, your channel is great, Tim. I love you. I love all the things you have to say. Because I'm a really big fan of Jay Dyer. And I'm not trying to say that you're only this, but it's cool to be like, oh, Tim's like Catholic Jay Dyer.
We have similar vibes. Yeah, that's one of the reasons we get along. So yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I call in frequently to Jay's show. And I can't fully be part of the milieu because I'm not Orthodox, you know how that works. But yeah, I just wanted to say I am a proud husband. I am a proud Catholic, right? And obviously, I think the number one thing that guys need to remember is that when it comes to like dating and whatnot, similar to what's your name, man?
Joe.
Yeah, Joe, kind of like what you said, how you don't want to be a simp, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a good reason why that was mocked on the internet so much, you know, like in the COVID era and whatnot,
Right.
is just because like we think that all of our troubles are going to go away if we just have the right person. And it's like, no, the only person who's really going to fulfill all of those yearnings and whatnot is Jesus, right?
Yep.
And a good marriage only works if it's through Christ. And as men, obviously, we need to imitate the person of Christ, right? But I wanted to say something that is a little off topic, but I just want you to bear with me for a second.
Sure.
I've commented on your videos before. I remember you made a video about can Catholics watch Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm actually doing a series on my channel where I analyze Harry Potter from a Catholic perspective. And something I've actually noticed in Harry Potter is that the women are actually really awesome. Like Mrs. Weasley, like she's trad mom, you know? And also like Hermione, Ginny are great, you know, and they provide really good feminine role models, I would say.
Hermione's kind of bossy for my taste. But
However, I agree with you, but when push comes to shove, she falls for the masculine man. You know, she goes with Ron.
yeah, that's true. Ron's, I guess, yeah, I mean, he's still British, but,
right.
Yeah,
and like she's like, oh, he's not smart. He's like an oaf, you know, and blah, blah. But when the shit comes, she gets with him, you know.
True.
She doesn't maintain that whole like bossy, you know, girl boss bitch stuff. She's like, oh yeah, I'm with you, Ron.
It is weird that in the Harry Potter series, the main character doesn't get the girl. He gets his best friend's little sister, but the girl goes to his best friend. That's always been kind of weird to me. But I see what you're saying. Yeah, Ginny's kind of cool. Miss Weasley's kind of cool. I mean, they're redheads. They have to be.
Professor McGonagall, like, come on, dude, she's badass.
Oh, Professor McGonagall.
She's what's her name? What's her real name?
Oh, yeah, Maggie something.
Maggie Smith. Yeah.
That was tragedy when she died. I was like, man, she's in all of like my favorite British stuff.
It was like my English old granny who I've never met and just died. What do I do?
Well, funnily enough, she reminds me very much of my own grandmother. My own grandmother, she's largely of English descent. She looks exactly like her, and her demeanor and everything is like pretty much exactly the same. So that also helps me, you know, appreciate the character and the performance and whatnot. But also, I really agree with the previous caller about the kind of like, I guess maybe you would agree with me here that there's this sort of like establishment Catholicism, you know?
Of course.
And like, I guess I would ask you is how do you suss out, you know, like who's legit and who's not? Because it's really hard, you know, this day and age. Yeah, you're pretty cool.
Yeah, I can answer that one. Two questions: feminism and the Jews.
Feminism and the Jews. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that about boils it down. If you can't be honest about those two questions, they occupy your mind. You know, you're controlled by something or someone.
I mean, you could also just ask me. You could go through a checkbox. I mean, there's basically almost no cool Catholic content creators if you want to know the truth. Yeah. But they're very few and far between, and a lot of them are good content creator, but also Catholic. Like my friend, quite frankly, cool dude, very good dude, also Catholic. He's a revert, or someone like Michael Knowles. He's a good Catholic. But I mean, a lot of the Catholic Inc. people and the Trad Inc. people tend generally to annoy me. Now there are guys like Eric Ibarra or classical theists that I like, but any of the names are, at least temperamentally different from me, that I'm not going to give them the recommendation. But that's a lot of this stuff is personal too and subjective.
Are you talking about like how do you decipher whether they're a part of Catholic Inc., like owned or occupied or something, or like who are just the cool dudes? Like those are two separate questions, because there's a lot of dorks with really good opinions.
That is true. Yeah, it's not really like the kind of personality. It's more so the actual views and like, should you be listening to this person? I guess
Yeah, I don't think there are a lot of good Catholic opinions anywhere to be had on the internet. I don't. I mean, people come here. We got a lot of people that are like, "Look, man, I only listen to you," and I'm like, I'm not saying that's what you have to do, but there's a reason why. There's if you were Orthodox, you said you listen to Jay Dyer, like there are some other pretty sensible sort of ortho bros within that space. For prots, there's some sensible prots within that space. If you're Protestant, Catholics are weirdly pervaded by feminism and Zionism, and we just have the clearest no-nos. We have that's a no-go zone, and you can't be Catholic and feminist and Zionist, and that's why those are two good litmus tests. And I don't agree for my part that there are a bunch of dorky yet good opinions out there. I like Eric Ibarra. I mean, I don't know him that well. I don't know if he's a bro, but he's close to where I'm at. There are other guys that are like Enoch's brother Elijah is close to where I'm at on a lot of issues. Classical theist is close to where I'm at on a lot of issues. But I don't think among the if you say who are the big 10 Catholic lay creators, it'll be, I think if I were not me, if I were someone else, then I'd use your body to get to the top. I would listen to me and not the other 9 ones. That's just my take though. So that's the best I can do. But I do like those guys I mentioned, and I like Joe, and I like, I like classical theist. I like Michael Knowles, and they happen to be Catholic. But and I like Mike Pantile. I should say him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's very good.
I mean, he's a friend. So they're just the guys I'm friends with, to be honest. And there's some, I like Anthony Abate, but in terms of someone that has the deep bag to kind of go, properly assess what's going on in the church and the world from a Catholic perspective, you gotta have a certain training, I think. So I don't think it's surprising, really, that there's not a deep bench.
Well, a really good lower key Catholic channel that I really like. I'm actually set to do a collab with him soon. His name is Roger Maxson. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Mm-mm.
He was he used to be a Baptist minister, and he served in the military, right? So, but he converted to Catholicism. But his background, you could see the certain aspects of him and how his takes are kind of different than, I guess, like yours, or because like you're a cradle Catholic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. Yeah. But he's really good. But the problem is he just doesn't have that much followers, Yeah. And there's actually a lot, especially I've kind of noticed that there's kind of like a disconnect in the Catholic content creation world, because there's a lot of younger guys, like guys more around my age, that make really good stuff. I guess they just don't have like the publicity or the clout, I guess you could say, that would get people to watch them more. Like right. Aquinas, I think, is a great channel. Jesus and whatnot. I guess that's like the Gen Z creators, and then I feel like there's a lot more sus in like the millennial and Gen X Catholic content creators. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
That's accurate.
Yeah, I mean, because like the Gen Z, like, I mean, a lot of those certain tactics of like, cornering people with like, feminism and Zionism, so like that just doesn't really work on people my age. Like we know all of this is fake right. and gray. We know that it doesn't work. We know that it's part of some massive psyop, you know, and so that just doesn't really work on us. Now, I think actually you probably would get. I mean, I don't really think you, because you are a content creator. I mean, I technically am, but I don't really. I'm not nearly on your level, right? But like, I assume that the way you watch, like, quote unquote Catholic YouTube is probably a little different than the way I do, right?
Probably because I don't.
Right. And I don't really as much as well. I mean, in fact, I say I watch Jay Dyer. I don't really watch Jay for his religious content. I watch him more for his geopolitical analysis.
Right.
I think that's just incredible.
Just great.
You know,
yeah.
And I tell him that all the time. Like, I tell him, I'm like, hey Jay, I'm your #1 Catholic fan. You know, like you're preaching a lot of the truth. You know,
yeah,
like better than most Catholics.
I agree,
Amen, brother. Amen, brother. Well, thanks for watching us.
Yes, sir.
God bless. We appreciate your call tonight.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Will.
Take care. Have a great one.
Next up is Bill. Hi, Bill.
Hello, thank you for having me on. Hey, so my question is, I'm about to get engaged and then married in probably 8 or so months. And when I joined, you guys were talking about receptions. And so I was kind of just curious, like, what are the most cucked, normal traditions that happen at these receptions to avoid, in your opinion?
Like the removing of the garter, gay. Like that kind of like
cake in the face,
gay. Like the walk in, like clap everybody. Like the bride holds up the bouquet and makes like that one weird face.
That one face where she goes, yeah,
that's
the
gay.
gay shit ever.
big one. Bridesmaid speeches.
Oh,
maid of honor speech. No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No bridesmaids, maid of honor speech at all. Do not allow it.
Yeah, that's really gay.
That's the gay.
#1. Good poll with that one. But I mean, the speeches in general are pretty terrible because people aren't really trained in that anymore. Just the whole thing's a mess. The whole thing's a hot mess. No, I'm serious. I'm not.
Unless like her dad or your dad is like a banger public speaker that's gonna like really wow everybody, like kind of.
Which they're not.
No.
Your dad public speech. It's like a 1 in a million thing in our day. And it was like
that one wedding.
Your father's like JFK. It'll probably be decent. But
yeah.
Remember that one wedding we went to where the father sang the entire chorus of Sunrise and Sunset?
They're sang like all 11 verses. It was
don't let anybody sing. Do not let anybody sing.
It's just
take the microphone away.
Your best bet would be to not have a reception. That's honestly what I tell people now. And if you're already on the hook, that's fine. Look, I had one, but it's a live and learn thing, and you will be singing this tune. So if it would rock the boat too much to not do it, I mean, fuck it, who cares? I would rock the boat, and I'd just say, look, if you want to do a reception at mom and dad's house with the people, that's fine. But I want to get up out of here after we want to take the sacrament. Then we want to go on our honeymoon and get away from all y'all.
That's what Mexican too. Go Mexican. That's always an option.
The park is fine because you can go in there and listen to the Desperado band for a little bit of for 5 minutes and wave to them and then go.
Right.
But I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. It's like walking between raindrops once you're there. The wedding reception industry is so gay. It is so cringe that it's like you're basically asking me, how can I go to my wedding reception and avoid all the gay raindrops? Like, you can't. If you're going to walk out from your covered garage into the rain, you're just going to get wet. You're going to get covered in gayness.
And if you're going to get like talked into, by the way, but if you're like marrying a woman and you do all these things, let her know what an absolute sacrifice it is that you're putting up with all of this. Like, we always get that from our moms, right? Like, they remind us how many hours of labor they were in with all of us. Like, let your woman know, like, I am putting up with this. Like, and this is awful. Like, some of the funnier conversations we've had with some of our friends were when they told their wives that, like, I did this because I love you, but I hated every single second of it.
It can be fun that way. I would just say try to avoid it, but I didn't. I kind of learned by going through it, but I didn't. My dad kind of told me to avoid some of this stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, I was being coaxed into it by other relatives. So, you know, that I don't know. What would you say, Joe? I mean, the bride's speech is clamp them down.
Yeah, I was roped into it too. And like you said, you kind of live and you learn. I mean, I'll be honest, I was very upfront with my wife about how I felt about it, the giant reception thing, that I didn't want to, that I didn't really like it, that I don't really have any interest in planning it or doing anything. I'll show up to it. And I said, but look, if the reception is so important to everybody in the family, if it's so important to everybody, fine. You get the reception, I get the honeymoon, and my honeymoon was in the Rocky Mountains. So, you know, take a load off if you really feel the need to do it. Take a load off, enjoy your honeymoon, and do all of those things. Because the only thing in the reception, from my perspective, that I really like enjoyed was knowing that my family enjoyed it and had a good time at it. But outside of that, I didn't do any of the cake or the maid of honor. All the rituals we talked about, I excised from my wedding quite promptly. But outside of that, yeah, that was my biggest thing. Everybody had a good time. So about 99% of it was awful, and then that 1% of joy. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
Sweet. Thank y'all. I appreciate the answers.
God bless you, man.
All righty. Let's read some of these super chats. Let's go through these. Gina says, first one to cry is gay. Very true.
Agreed.
Excellent. Or wait, oh no, I'm not even gonna try.
Oh,
but Jacob wept when he met Rachel. Dozens more in the Bible.
Yeah, are you a gay LARP? Where that's are you gonna? You don't have to do everything. He also wore like a tunic, but you're probably not wearing a tunic to your wedding. That you don't have to do everything.
Are you deboning a chicken with your bare hands?
Right.
Like what? Where do we draw the line?
It doesn't.
Also not baptized, mind you.
Right. Yeah. Also.
Should we go back to a cruder time where men cried at their weddings?
Yeah. No, that's true. Like, okay, are you going to undo your baptism?
Yeah.
You always go. This is what the feminists do, man. When they come out and they're like, "What about this female prophet? What about this? Water's not really wet, not all the time." Come on. Just you don't believe your own argument here.
No, Tim. Judaism was better. Actually, it's like, come on. What are we talking about here? We're in the new covenant, my friend.
Yeah. You're trying not to get it, and that makes for bad.
And the Old Testament has the harshest words for these types of women too. So don't.
And it's funny too, because I'll always like talk about the Bible, but then do you want to talk about what the Bible says about women are supposed to do in relation to their husbands? Oops.
Read Sirach, right? Read Sirach.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's where we draw the line.
No,
that's
we don't
where we draw the line.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Jacob weeping when he met Rachel dozens of times. That's the good part of the Old Testament. The bad part is when it says that a headstrong wife shall be regarded as a bitch. That's the bad part. We as Christians need to reject that and accept the crying at the weddings. It's just sophistry.
It's like poetry in motion, but it's bad poetry in motion. It's so predictable. Yeah, this is what you don't know how used to this we are.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne says, and we have another.
They're not saying you have to do that. They are saying this is how the duties of a husband and a wife in our catechism. The same people that said you have to do everything Jacob did, wear a tunic, even though it's permissive, not mandatory. They're going to say it's mandatory, not permissive. They're going to reverse it where it's actually mandatory. You need to do this as a husband. The wife needs to do this as a wife. The reverse.
Why not Solomon? Why can't I be like Solomon and have some concubines?
Yeah. Yep.
Bruce Wayne said $20 said, according to the visions of Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich, St. Joseph did not cry at the wedding of Our Lady. He stood silent, devout, and humble, feeling unworthy. This is the example husbands should follow.
There's no way Joseph cried. Yeah.
Not a chance.
No way.
Yeah.
He's not gay.
We know that because he's
the least gay man in church history is St. Joseph's at least one of them.
Right.
Okay, let's see here. Bruce Wayne also said, for older single Catholic men, late 30s, early 40s, what age range would you recommend for guys to look for in women younger than them?
You're getting into tough territory.
You fall in love with, like, I don't know.
You're it depends who you can attract, you know. And I'm not talking about how many rosaries per day you're saying. This is, you're getting onto thin ice, you know. Even if you're a dude in your late 30s, you know, it's the wall well before late 30s for women, but thin ice for men in the late 30s. And you know, it depends, you know, how much of a, you know, how much you can bench, what your face looks like, what your, you know, how cool a dude you are. Those are the facts Lila Rose doesn't want to say when people ask. So, you know, at some point when you're approaching 30, you take what you can get, right? You take the bad with the good, but that's kind of the rub on that one. Now, if you've been single the whole time as a bounder, as a playboy or whatever, then you can, you know, maybe you can date as young as you want. But a lot of guys that are single at 40 are not single by choice. And so you take what you can get.
That was so much more specific than I would have went with that.
What do you mean?
Well, it's just, to me, it's just, look, whatever woman that, you know, you're going on dates with, whatever age range that is, and they're falling in love with you, it's just like, that's the one that you should go for. I don't know. I just like go for, as in like, I'm not getting any dates and maybe I should go for older. Like if that's the case, then yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, okay. That's how I took it. Well, yeah. I still doubt that the asker of the question was like, hey, I've had this girlfriend of 9 months. Should I go for a younger one? It sounded like we're at the beginning.
Hey, man, we're cool dudes. It could be one of them on there asking for, you know, Giga Chat advice. What can I say?
That's right. There you go. Song of Roland said, learn to say no and be firm. You don't have to be harsh or rude. The rest will follow.
Amen.
Amen. We have Clark.
No, that person's responding to me.
Oh.
That's not a nice question. He's saying he's talking about the STFU comment.
Oh, what is he saying?
You don't learn to say no and be firm. You don't have to be harsh or rude. The rest will follow. That's regarding my comment, I think. Am I wrong about that?
Oh, that's probably right. Yeah, I mean, the answer nobody likes is that it's a practical, prudential decision, and so it's going to be up to each guy the way he runs it. It's like asking, what should be the punishment for my 14-year-old? It's like, well, it depends on the temperament of the 14-year-old, and it depends on the individual temperament of the parent. You know, is a firm no gonna do enough for the wife that's cussing you out? Yes or no? Mm-hmm. The question is what is going to work to get her back on the right path? Yeah.
Right. And sometimes
if the firm no isn't good enough, maybe it needs to be an STFU. It's a prudential thing.
Maybe raising your voice, or because women will always say everything's abuse, right? Like anything they don't like is verbal abuse. Everything is abuse. Every guys are mean. It's like, listen, I'm sorry, but sometimes if you're a particularly out of control woman, if a guy's like yelling at you and like pounding his fist a little bit, it's probably because you're exacerbating the poor guy and he's at his wit's end. And men aren't used to being challenged that directly by somebody who's smaller and inferior to them. So they don't really know how to respond.
Right.
They don't know. Men don't know how to, like, if a guy does that to another guy, then things just get physical.
Right.
But when it's so confusing for men when a woman who's like half their size and intelligence and speed starts abutting them and like making things difficult. Like they're going to raise their voice. They are maybe going to pound the fist. A fist might even go through a wall sometimes out of frustration. This is what happens when you push men to their conceptual breaking point. And then women always want to say, oh, they're out of control or they're abusive. No, that's just what it looks like when you are an out of control woman who's just intentionally pushing a man to his conceptual wit's end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, there. I don't want anybody to misconstrue the conceptual disagreement here. The conceptual disagreement. Why does it have to be a firm no? Why can't it be SDA? Why can't it be any measure of disciplinary action that you, as the head of your household, choose to take against your wife? Well, the whole concept is that being intimidating towards your wife is sinful. That they have this concept in their head that intimidating your wife in any way is sinful. But that the man's role is to maintain order, discipline, and respect in his household. So how is he to do that without being at least somewhat of an intimidating, dominating figure? And that's the jujitsu, because the women are never held to account if
No.
the man is barred from being intimidating. It's very, very clearly a sleight of hand.
Right.
And no, I can say that to my wife if she's cussing at me and being all those certain ways. If it's the prudent thing to do, you should do it. If the prudent thing to do is a firm no, if the prudent thing to do is I'd like to sit down and talk about this, if the prudent thing to do is to say nothing, you can choose all of those things, but that dominion belongs to you.
Right.
Yeah, nobody ever wants to look at the female's behavior in a situation like that, or the guy who's yelling or he's upset. Nobody wants to look at the woman and be like, okay, everybody always just wants to point to the guy and be like, why is he yelling? Oh, he's so unmanly for yelling. It's like, I guarantee you in those instances for most of the time, obviously there's guys out there who are just total massive jerks. I think those guys are rare though. For most situations when a guy is raising his voice, if you look on the opposite end of the room, it's probably a totally wildly out of control female that he's responding to.
Yeah, think of it like teenager. Like, yes, it's that you shouldn't, theoretically, you should always be perfect and you know, speak in your inside voice and be positive as much as possible. But even theoretically, that's not true. But if a teenager really pushes you, yeah, it's not even theoretically all true. But I'm just saying, in a nicey world, we wish it were like that as leaders. We wish that we dealt with our teenager who is being really impossible perfectly. But teenagers drive parents to their conceptual breaking point, which Steph kept saying. I'm really good with teenagers, and it still happens some. A lot of waspy boomers are really bad with teenagers. And so it's a constant fight all the time. So it's kind of like saying, well, how should I punish my teen? Ground him for 3 weeks or ground him for 8.2 weeks? It's like, that's up to the prudential authority of the authority figure. Yeah. Except instead of thinking teen, we're thinking wives. And these sassy wives act like teens a lot.
Well, they try to act like dudes, and then they get dismayed when they get treated like dudes. Like, if you're gonna like get up in your husband's face and yell at him and scream at him, and then he yells back at you, like, then don't. If you don't want to be treated that way, then act like a lady. Then act like a woman.
Ladies, expect it to be scary. Expect it to be scary when he does it. Expect it to be something that makes you want to take a seat and maybe take a step back from him. He's telling you something. This is a form of communication. This is a form of this will not happen in my household. And again, going back to the point on my tweet, I said you'd think it was super hot too. You'll like that. You'll like that the man loves you and cares about you enough to not let you mistreat him. It's attractive that you don't let that he doesn't let you walk all over him. You will like that. You want a man that's willing to say these things. And all the men, you know, in the comments, and including this super chatter that wants to, you know, get all up in my grill over, you know, saying that you should say STFU to this woman. I haven't seen a single one of these retards comment on this woman's statement where she was calling me an insecure misogynist ass or whatever. Not a single person has a problem with that sort of language. And it's like, well, you know what? I'm going to tell her to STFU if her husband's not going to, or suggest that he does.
Right.
Well, that's why women shouldn't be public. And it's like, that's why it's like you buy upon yourself. Like, even when I'm talking on this channel and people make rude remarks, I buy that upon myself by even opening my mouth and saying things publicly. If you're a woman on Twitter, you're in the men's world. Like, if you're going to jump out there and do that, then you're going to get dealt with. I have never been treated badly by men when I'm just acting like a woman. Like, you know, if I go out there and I start trying to like cause problems with dudes, like they're gonna react. And that's why the lesson from all this is act like a lady, and men will treat you like one. If you act like a raving ape, they're gonna treat you like that.
Yeah, don't chimp out. Men,
don't chimp out.
Because it's a secret of the pros. When someone chimps out, whether it's a teen or a woman or you know, a black guy at the mall, men are trying to regain law and order, or trying to restore law and order as quickly as possible. They're trying to do what their best estimation of restoration of law and order requires. But no one knows exactly. We're flesh and blood, man. We're just doing our best to restore order, do the common good for the family. And so they're going to try different things, different times. And sometimes it's going to be ugly. Sometimes it'll be prettier. Sometimes just don't poke the bear.
Don't poke the bear. Somebody was saying,
I'm the judge. You're in my courtroom, and when I bang the gavel, you shut your mouth.
Right.
we'll bring you in here, Clark. Clark's waiting to get in, but this one comment says, so you're saying a man cannot control his temper or talk firm and reasonable in the presence of a woman who is hysterical. No, that's not what we're saying.
No,
We're saying
It depends what you mean by wait. What are the boundary conditions here? Control his temper. He's not allowed to break the law.
Yeah.
But if you catch a dude on a better day, or when he's trying to be better, or whatever, versus a medium day or maybe a bad day at work, you're going to fetch a range of responses, all of which, including STFU, is still under control. So you're trying to set frame.
This isn't an emotional outburst. It's a restoration of order.
Right.
You're oriented towards the good. You're not. No lack of control. This is what I've been dealing with all day.
There's no lack of control here. A lack of control is when a man starts breaking the law. I think we can all agree, like beating his wife, that he never has the right to do that. Right. But different judges, to use Joe's analogy, literally run their courtrooms differently that trial attorneys know about. I never actually went in and did trial stuff, so I can tell you the black letter law, but I just know judges in Kern County by their reputation and not by experience. And some were really grouchy, and they're like, I'd hear, my bosses, Bernie and Robert, taught me when I worked at the law firm, talking about going in and dealing with this grouchy judge. And they're like, that was weird. He was in a good mood today. And they're kind of surprised. Other judges are known as being really nice and permissive, and they're like, man, he snapped at me. But usually people do what their median is, and they do kind of what they're expected to do temperamentally. But sometimes they'll surprise you. So sometimes a guy who's a grouchier husband might be in a better mood after a work day that you thought would make him in a bad mood. Sometimes it'll be the opposite. A nice guy will be, but none of it's out of control. There's a range of acceptable outcomes, and that's why I don't tell any king of his castle what he has to do, aside from the generic stuff like follow the law. Right. So, whether he says, pretty please, with a cherry on top, clean the fucking car, like the Wolf in Pulp Fiction, or he says, pretty please, with the cherry on top, I'll buy you a Gucci bag if you do it. Okay. You maybe caught him on the best day ever when he won the lottery. That's not up to me. And you know what else? That's not up to you guys either. That's up to him. If he says,
like, toot sweet, get your ass out there and clean that car, still fair game.
Right.
I'm sorry, it is.
I'm just using the example from Pulp Fiction. But all right. So I'm not this guy's judge. And guess what? Neither are you, and neither is Joe. No one really, aside from John Law, if he breaks the law, no one judges this king in his own castle unless he steps outside and makes himself an outlaw by operating outside of the law. So none of us is his judge.
Right. Or his wife does, for example, too. If his wife is going out on the internet picking fights with men, don't be mad when men go out and correct them. It's the same thing as the woman at the bar who instigates a fight with another guy and then expects the man the man to fight for her honor after she disrespects another man. No, correct the woman.
Right.
Yep. All right, let's add Clark in. Hello, Clark. How are you?
Hey guys, how you doing? Tim, love your show. Joe, love your show as well. I'm Song of Roland, just to clear everything up. I am in agreement with Tim and Joe both. I was talking in generalities to one of the earlier callers who was saying something about meeting women at church and everything that, what's her name, Lila Rose said. Yeah. I was just kind of giving him a vague general statement as like, hey man, be firm, learn to say no. Women respond to that sort of thing. I'm not disagreeing with either of you fellas. I just wanted to get on, say love your all shows. Both of you guys, thank you for everything you guys do. And if you guys wouldn't mind, the whole community pray for me. I'm trying to make the Team USA again this year. Missed out on it last year by one slot. And the prayers being healthy during training would be appreciated.
Okay, what event? You got it, man.
Sambo. Okay. So kind of like a Russian version of judo.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Cool.
Dude, you will definitely be in my prayers, and that's actually really cool, dude. I'm so glad you're
well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Again, love your all shows. Please keep doing what you guys do.
All right, thanks. You'll be in my family.
Love you guys. Have a good day.
Peace. You too. All right, can we call it there?
Great show, fellas.
Yeah.
Joe, where can we find you?
Yeah, I mean, you guys can follow the project that I'm working on, but you can follow me at JENDERSII on X. That is JENDERSII. I host the show Red Top Report. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Rumble. I am the co-founder also of Command Media TV. That includes Father Calvin Robinson and Pine Sap now, as of recently. We're trying to create a new generation of pro-Western content that uplifts young men to make them proud of their heritage, proud of their faith, and pro-family. So God bless you guys. I always love coming on the show with you, Tim. It's we never miss on our episodes. They're always great. I love them.
No, this is a good one, and it wasn't overly specific. People were saying, "Oh, what was it? Crying at your wedding, engagement rings, STFU."
It's a pandemic of many problems that we were able to bring up.
Female coding, yeah, and I haven't done a lot of patriarchy content recently, so it's nice to get back to the wheelhouse. Anyway, good show, Joe, and thanks a million. It was great hanging out with you in Chicago. Thanks for taking me and the fam around, showing us lots of good food. That was a good time, 3 or 4 days of it. And we'll see you soon. When are you getting back to doing Red Top Report shows?
So I'm remodeling the studio right now. I got people coming over on Wednesday to do the electrical in the area. I'm doing it myself with my dad and a close family friend of ours. So we're gonna wire it up. We're gonna try to do the drywall on it, and then I got to put up some paneling still. And then after that, I'm basically good. I think I got to do the floor too. So I got to do the floor too, and then after I do the floor, so we're looking at maybe another month or so, and I'll be probably squared away to start doing actual episodes of my show again. But it's a work in progress, and when you DIY it, it always takes longer. So,
amen. All right, well, hopefully in a month or so you'll be back at it.
Yeah.
God bless people. We got John Yep of Catholics for Catholics coming on Wednesday. We're going to do some more Charlie Kirk content. He's got some inside scoopage. And of course, anybody who's interested in seeing the Catholic Republic documentary, we are still in the last phases of fundraising for that. Reach out to me, Timothy J. Gordon at timothyjgordon.com. If you are interested in being an investor in EP, we have a lot of the money. If we can get the full budget that we're looking for, I'll even be working with Joe on some editing and stuff. So just it's going to look a lot like the What a Woman Is film that everyone said was so great up on CandaceOwens.com. We're going to do to Catholic Republic, my first book, what we did to The Case for Patriarchy, my third book. These books tend toward visual aspects. And so we're really looking forward to shooting this, which is going to begin in the fall. God bless you all. And we'll see you on Wednesday. Deus Vult.